dietro. Distinguished guest, the Chief of the Italian Navy just arrived, so we briefly go through what has become a leitmotif of the symposium, the logistic details. You may be already familiar with smoking areas and coffee bar, and also about numbers to select for simultaneous translations. Again, I'll show you briefly the Wi-Fi that doesn't need any password, and I'll go quickly through the agenda of today. So today we'll have a quick presentation about an event that is becoming more and more important in our maritime panorama, is the Sea Future 2020. Then we will proceed with the chairman wrap-up and final remarks provided by the Chief of Italian Navy. At 12 there will be the farewell in the officers' mess. Before starting, let me say one thing about this pavilion. Several delegations asked for some more details about this historical place, so I would like to avail of the skills of one of our assistants, which will provide some additional information about this historical place. So I kindly ask Miss Patrizia Rigo to join me at the stage and provide some additional information. Thank you. Ms. Rigo, please.
Buongiorno a voi tutti e benvenuti in questo arsenale, un luogo davvero unico che ha quasi 1000 anni di storia e che ha segnato le tappe salienti della Serenissima Repubblica prima e della città di Venezia dopo. Entrando stamani vi sarete accorti di entrare in una cittadella fortificata che si suddivide nella parte vecchia, la porta d'ingresso, la porta magna, con il canale della Madonna e le strutture adiacenti, la parte nuova, dove ci troviamo noi ora, aggiunta in questo arsenale dopo il 1430 e che gode di un ulteriore canale, il lago di San Daniele, sul quale si specchia la lunga fabbrica dell'artiglieria, la Novissimetta e la porta da mar napoleonica, quella voluta da Napoleone agli inizi del 1800 e che ancora adesso è adoperata. Ci troviamo dunque in una struttura chiamata fabbrica degli squadratori ed esattamente questa è la sala a squadrare, che è una possente struttura architettonica di inestimabile valore storico ed artistico. Infatti, fin dal 1400 questo luogo era occupato da una lunga tettoia del legname, cioè un tetto di legno sotto il quale venivano accatastati milioni di pali di legno, di larice, di abete, di noce, di rovere, che poi sapientemente erano lavorati dalle maestranze dell'arsenale, chiamate non a caso arsenalotti. Quindi un luogo di febbrile attività, tant'è che tra il 1650 scusate, tra il 1750 e il 1780 lo stesso governo veneziano decise di aprire una fabbrica più lunga e più poderosa, grazie anche all'aiuto di un proto, cioè un abile architetto edile dell'epoca, chiamato Giuseppe Scalfurotto, che realizzò questa struttura che all'epoca era lunga, pensate, 147 metri, larga 28 ed era costituita da un unico vano alto 16 metri e 80, dove queste maestranze, gli arsenalotti formati nella loro professionalità, cioè i marangoni, i falegnami, i segadori, gli squadratori, oltre a stagionare il legname nel tratto di mare antistante, che non a caso è chiamato Canale delle Galeazze, poi asciugavano questi legni e li lavoravano, come vi dicevo poc'anzi. Quindi un luogo davvero febbrile. Diciamo che dopo l'unificazione del Regno d'Italia, quindi dopo il 1866, questo luogo viene nuovamente ristrutturato e perde parte della sua imponenza iniziale. Viene accorciato di 86 metri nel fronte nord, quello che sta alle mie spalle, e infatti alcuni decenni dopo, in quello spazio libero, verrà costruito quello scalo in pietra d'Istria che potete vedere, sul quale poggia il sommergibile Dandolo, quella sagoma grigia che tutti voi avrete notato entrando in Arsenale. Ma soprattutto si procedette a realizzare un poderoso solaio, che è quello dove poggiamo noi ora, di lungo quasi 85 metri, con delle spesse e lunghe tavole di legno di larice supportati da una doppia fila di pilastri cruciformi, e poi si riadattarono anche i ponti luce con le finestre a lunetta a filo di pavimento, e quindi si diede una nuova rivitalità a questo luogo, realizzando anche queste splendide capriate, queste travi lignee che costituiscono la tipologia di tettoiamento realizzati per secoli nelle costruzioni di pubblica ragione dal governo veneziano, e quindi per poter rendere ancora una volta molto fruibile professionalmente questo luogo. Come voi tutti sapete, durante il 1900 l'Arsenale perde la sua grande febbrilità di fabbrica, e quindi anche questo luogo rimane in abbandono. Sarà il capo di Stato Maggiore nel 2014 della Marina Militare che, venuto per un sopralluogo minuzioso in Arsenale, decise di far rinascere questo luogo, e quindi, supportato dall'aiuto della Soprintendenza alle Belle Arti e del paesaggio di Venezia e della laguna, decide di ristrutturarne la pavimentazione, cambiando quindi quei pezzi di legno di larice che ormai erano consumati, riadattò le finestre, organizzò dei nuovi punti luce esterni ed interni, e soprattutto costruì le due scale d'accesso, quella esterna che sicuramente avete percorso e quella interna a chiocciola, che parte dalla sala della campanella sottostante, peraltro anche questa ristrutturata qualche anno fa, e durante questi lavori di ristrutturazione, pensate, è emerso un bassorilievo di notevole valore, perché è un bassorilievo quattrocentesco che va a rappresentare il massimo simbolo di Venezia, cioè il leone alato andante in posizione di profilo. E quindi si sono ultimati questi lavori che hanno permesso la realizzazione allora del 10° Seapower Symposium. E ora a voi di poter usufruire di un luogo che è deputato ad ospitare eventi anche di carattere internazionale come questi. Vi ringrazio.
Thank you, Madam. I would like now to go through Seafuture, that is an event regarding the maritime cluster, and which is gathering more and more important during the year. So I kindly ask the Deputy National Armament Director, Vice Admiral Dario Giacomin, and Ms. Laura Parducci to join me at the stage. So Seafuture is a biannual maritime defense industry exhibition, which is aimed at fostering cooperation as well as promoting among partner navies technological innovation in the maritime sector. Over the years, Seafuture served as a regional reference for procurement and for the development of relations in the naval dimension of the defense sector. In the Blue Century, Seafuture aim is coherent with Italian Navy vision in promoting the blue growth, also through the defense industrial sector. So it's quite easy to understand how this kind of events operate in support to proper roles of navies, and specifically speaking, in synergy with the regional Seapower Symposium. In this perspective, the cooperation between Italian Navy and Seafuture, an event involving larger companies, small and medium industries, and the whole maritime cluster, has several positive side effects. I would like to mention just the promotion to the public opinion of the importance of the national maritime dimension, the increase and strengthening of bilateral relations, to compare and share from a technological point of view ideas and solutions through thematic workshops on a topic of interest, and carry out public information activities throughout media visibility. The last edition took place in La Spezia Naval Base in 2018, from 19 to 23rd June. And so the participation of more than 40 navies around the world. We had the chance to visit Italian warships, especially the one which are on phasing out, along with the possibility to go at sea for a short period. High-level representative of Italian defense, Italian armed forces, and international organizations took part as well. The next edition, the 2020, will be held in La Spezia Naval Base as well, from the 23rd to the 27th of June 2020. Now I kindly ask Vice Admiral Giacomin to take the floor. Sir, please.
Okay. Thank you, D'Apozzo. Okay, first I would like to thank to the Chief of the Navy, Admiral Cavo Dragone, to have given the opportunity to the National Armament Directorate to tell a number of words here in this fantastic opportunity. It's a particular honor for me to talk in front of also the former Chief of the Italian Navy. I had the pleasure and the honor to serve them in the past for me, and to speak in front of this distinguished audience made by the head of the navies of the world, and a great number of the navies of the world, and the incredibly high level of distinguished guests. First, I would like to tell some words about what I represent. I'm the Deputy Secretary General of Defense and the Deputy National Armament Director. We, as Directorate, we depend directly from the Minister of Defense, and we are responsible, and I personally coordinate together on behalf of the Secretary General, General Falsa Perna. I coordinate all the activities of the Armament Directorate. For example, 3 are the main sectors we perform day after day. First is the main defense program for the future. Just to give an example, we manage in the Directorate programs like the F-35 for Italy. Then for the Army, for example, the Army Future Networked Soldier, that's a program in continuous evolution because we go on with the new technology in order to improve better what is the equipment for the soldiers of the army. We follow all the European programs for PESCO, EDF, EDIDP, and so on. There are so many. The last one we are dealing with is the Euromail, that will be the, let's say, the European Predator, let's say, to give a very short name for the future. This is an incredible asset that we will do in Europe, between European nations, using also European funds. Of course, we manage all the services, missile programs for the future. So the legacy, now legacy SAF PAMS program, but we are looking to the future to get our partners, the main partners, European, for the missile families for the future. And of course, we are in charge about cyber and so on. The other department, so important, is for research and development. We drive the research and development of the Italian defense for the future, involving the main industries and also the small, medium enterprises that are so important in the Italian environment. So what we think is that we drive with those departments two activities. What are the, so we like to be before, to anticipate technologically and with the equipment what will be the need and the requirements of the armed forces in the future. So we are looking ahead 30, 50 years in order to be ready to respond quickly, extremely quickly, when the services and the defense will have understood that they have that requirement. It's so important. I think that's forgive me, maybe we are really the driver of the defense because we look to the future for the equipment and technology, and this drives so much. And then, of course, we are in charge to support the industrial policy of the Ministry of Defense, and we are in charge of the cooperation worldwide. We cooperate for the defense equipment and research and development with a great number of states, governments, and defenses abroad. And most of the nations are here present with their representatives here in this audience. So it's an incredible, extremely interesting activity, and we like to think that when we cooperate internationally for research and development and for some new equipment, what we do is something extremely noble. It is, in real terms, to spread not armaments, to spread security, stability all over the world. Because when we cooperate, we talk, we dialogue, we negotiate, we establish relationship. We establish a relationship strong that will last for 10, 15 years because this is the time frame that the program takes. But after there will be other programs. So this links very much defenses. So I think that we are part of the security and stability building. There is the same purpose that this symposium has to enhance and improve security and stability all over the world at the Navy level. This is my opinion, being a Navy officer, this is the most important one. So said, we have in Italy, will be the 7th edition, a kind of an exhibition. This is the only exhibition expo for security equipments in Italy. It works. This is the 7th edition. I personally think that to have it very close, also physically, with the ships of the Italian Navy, it's an extreme, great added value to this activity. So thank you for the Italian Navy to give support to the industrial politics of the Ministry of Defense and of the nation. So said, I leave the floor to Ms. Laura Perducci to explaining what will happen in May, suppose, or June. June, on June 2020. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Admiral Giramin. And first of all, let me thank you, the Italian Navy, for giving us the opportunity to present Seafuture, the 7th edition of Seafuture, to this prestigious public. It's a great honor for us. Let me introduce myself. I'm Laura Parducci. I'm the event manager of Seafuture, and considering the important public here, we are here with the president of our organization, Mrs. Cristiana Pagni, and with the president, Mr. Senator Lorenzo Forcieri, which is the president of the Liguria Cluster of Maritime Technologies, which is also partner of the company and of Seafuture. And now I will show you a short video explaining what happened in 2018. And then after my slide presentation, very short, I will show you a preview of the promo video for the next edition. Thank you. Well, thank you. And then my short presentation. Okay. As already Mr. Admiral Giromin said, Seafuture will take place next year, 23rd, 27 June 2020, inside La Spezia Navy Base. Okay. Seafuture is at its 7th edition, and it's a business convention, an event on maritime technologies and dual use. It's really unique in the Mediterranean basis because it is implemented inside a Navy base. And afterwards, we will see why it is so important. You all during these days have talked about blue growth, blue economy. 3-to-1 is the balance in favor of the sea to land, and this is our first economic resource. And that's why we have to preserve our sea and invest in our sea and the economy connected to the sea. I'm sorry, I don't know, there's some... ho fatto girare ma non va avanti. Okay, sorry. Empty. Okay. Anyway, what was I saying is that a safe and secure ecosystem is the base for the blue growth and for the economic development of our countries. Seafuture fits, therefore, the Sustainable Development Goals set out in the UN Agenda for People, Planet and Prosperity towards 2030. And it fits the integrated maritime policy of the European Commission. We really think that Seafuture is a model of industrial excellence and competitiveness, sustainability and innovation. Afterwards, we will see why we say so, because all the threats and the themes dealt within SeaFuture concerns these themes. It's a little bit slow, sorry. Anyway, the areas involved in SeaFuture are marine, security, underwater technologies, refitting, cybersecurity, I think I told already. Okay. And logistic. Okay, SeaFuture, the objectives for SeaFuture 2020 are 4 conference day, 1,300 advanced B2B meetings, 50 foreign delegations. Last year we had 42. Maybe some of you were present. The 230 exhibiting companies, the major big players in Italy and abroad, and also SMEs, university and academia. 9,000 participants, over 100 journalists accredited, and 9,000 square meters of exhibition area inside the Navy base. And the very important thing is that we have the basins of the Navy at our disposal to show ships and boats, to show existing ships from the Navy, the Italian Navy, and for example, last year we had also a ship from EUNAVFOR Med, and boats on water like yachts for refitting, etc. Okay. SeaFuture, we think, means opportunity to develop our international network, to promote products, to meet with companies, clusters, stakeholders, and institutions, to meet with peers, and to reach out with technologies and innovation from all over the world, further to keep up to date with the latest market developments. But some of this was already said by both Mr. D'Apozzo and Admiral Giromin. Again, here are detailed the sectors of SeaFuture: dual-use refitting, green technology, maritime safety and security, electronic warfare, cyber defense, research and development, communication, information and navigation system, underwater defense technologies, naval new technologies, and latest innovation. What we do inside SeaFuture during the 4 days, conferences and workshops, advanced B2B meetings, the show of best technologies for upgrading and refurbishment, the visit to the units of Italian Navy, and the award ceremony for academia and university for award for thesis on innovation, technologies, dual use, and environment. I will go through these slides very quickly. A special focus for SeaFuture 2020 is the theme of underwater defense technologies, which I think you dealt with in these days, which is the context you know better than I do. What we think we can do with SeaFuture and a special focus on UDT is to better understand the current technology offer and chart the course of future technologies in accordance with the current and potential operation scenarios, to identify partners and acquire know-how, and to get in touch with the state of the art and with potential competitors. Sì, finito. How, again, for underwater defense technologies, we will have a dedicated exhibition areas for industries, research institute and university, a sea test area, an R&D area, and the call for papers where companies, university, and research institutes can show and present the latest projects, the latest innovation. And now the preview for SeaFuture 2020, very short. Next June in La Spezia. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. If there are no particular questions, I will proceed with the final wrap-up session of the 12th edition of the Regional Seapower Symposium. So I would like to call on the stage, I would say thank you to Admiral Giacomini and to Ms. Parducci for the support. And I will kindly ask the two session chairmen to join me on the stage. The Chief of Portuguese Navy, the Chief of Brazilian Navy, Admiral Mendes Calado and Admiral Barbosa Jr. to join me on the stage. Thank you, sir. So first session wrap-up has already been given by Brigadier Kurmi that couldn't be today here. So I will start with the second session and kindly ask Admiral Mendes Calado to take the floor. Please, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I was chairman of a section which issue was shaping our navies, looking at the blue growth, new capabilities and traditional roles, how to find the right balance between low and high end. And I'm going to share with you the basic ideas we got from the participation of Admiral Yamamura, Admiral José Luis Villan, Yamamura from Japan, José Luis Villan from Argentina, Vice Admiral Sharvit from Israel, Admiral Murat Dinkman from Turkey, and finally, the thoughts from Mr. Francesco Beltrano from Confitarma. From this panel, we can get some ideas, and Admiral Yamamura started with explaining that blue growth will be the topic for a common future for all of us, including also in the blue growth, economic growth, security growth, and the most international cooperation growth to support a sustainable use of the sea. Admiral said already to us that shared interests should be approached and solved with shared effort to guarantee freedom of navigation, free trade, pursuing economic prosperity and securing peace and global stability. presented also us a concept of maritime domain awareness based on new technologies supporting information gathering and sharing wide range of information in real-time data to promote free and open oceans. Admiral José Luis Villan spoke to us about the increased value of the sea for our future and the need to think about the oceans in a comprehensive approach, with navies being called to a wide range of tasks in a large spectrum of risks facing an asymmetric and unconventional maritime environment. To face these circumstances, it is imperative to have flexible naval force structures, what we can call multi-role navies, ready to answer in a very large spectrum of missions. To face and tackle a common challenge and risks should be done also building partnerships between navies and between agencies in an interagency approach on sea problems. He called us that at the end that one important aspect is a strong leadership as a key factor to succeed in the future. Vice Admiral Elliot Sharvit from Israel showed us an interesting approach. Navies coming from blue waters to brown waters to no waters. Very, very interesting approach, because if we look for the areas where some navies operate in very constrained circumstances, he called the attention for the main threat for those navies coming not from naval forces, but coming from land. And I think our naval forces are not ready to answer to this kind of threat efficiently and effectively. We need new effective weapons to face these new threats. And he called us attention for the four pillars, for the main pillars for the navies for the future. Carry on classical naval operations, increase defense efforts for new threats, land attack capabilities, deal with threats coming from non-national issues, how do you call it? From the bad guys, I could call it, using these new technologies against our navies, which needs strong intelligence supporting our action and even special forces to support our action in these circumstances. Admiral Murat gave us some thoughts from the Turkish Navy, calling that the blue century, the 21st century, as the blue century, is requiring reshape and redesign of the maritime security concept. For the future, he said us that in the horizon there is a new era requiring strong navies able to respond to high-end missions, and also low-end dimensions in a dynamic change environment in the nature of risks and threats in the maritime domain, forcing the need to review the force structure of our navies. And he shared with us the experience of the Turkish Navy, making an approach to balance the force structures to maintain traditional tasks of sea control and also platforms mission adaptable for low-end missions. I share with you what he said us yesterday, that the motto of the Turkish Navy for the Blue Century is strong at sea, safe at home, which gives us a clear idea how the Turkish Navy will face the future. Our panel ended with a communication from Mr. Francesco Beltrano from Coffee Panama, telling us that, and recognizing from a civilian point of view, that blue economy requires secure environment, which for the navies we like to hear that. And it told us that an insecure sea is expensive because it causes damage to the world trade, affecting our lives. Referred also the importance and the sensitivity of the cybersecurity in the maritime domain, and also it called the attention of the new technologies for the environmental sustainability for the future, giving us some examples of green technologies embarking in the new ships. And that's it. Those are the main ideas that we got from my panel. And I use this opportunity also to congratulate Admiral Cavo Dragone and the Italian Navy for the outstanding organization of the 12th edition of the Regional Seapower Symposium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, last but not least, I would like to give the floor to the Chief of Brazilian Navy, Admiral Barbosa Jr., for the wrap-up of the last session. So, attention, bridge, you have the call, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished sailors. Perhaps distinguished and sailors is the same word. Good morning. Back to the bridge. It's my honor to summarize the valuable discussions that took place yesterday afternoon at the third working session that addressed the evolution of the seapower in the blue century, the maritime domain as a key enabler to enhance resilience, challenges, and opportunities. The broad composition of our panelists allowed the representation of different regions in the maritime security and safety scenarios, enabling thought-provoking presentations. Opinions shared, even they not lead us to a definitive consensus. They allowed reflections on the particularities of the challenge inherent to continue building a collaborative maritime community. Let me then look our navigation at the highlights of our session. Admiral Gilday, Chief of Naval Operations of the United States of America, has emphasized the main idea of strength and unity, stressing the freedom of the seas as an essential tool for each of our economies. According to him, key points to ensure stability are the fair trade and the need to follow the rule of law, especially the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. Seeking stability is not a navigation to perform lonely. It requires partnerships, a collective approach to maritime security and safety, so we can deal with the international challenges of our time, mainly the ones given by rapid advances in technology. To excel in partnership, we need to maintain deep relationship, strengthening cooperation in naval tides. Only by doing so, we will be able to assure security and stability over the maritime commons, a compelling need of our time, since we were now more dependent on the sea than ever before. Rear Admiral Wang Wenbin, Deputy Commander of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, Navy, has presented by way China is facing the challenges. The PLA Navy is building bridges that may improve capacity to deal with development trends within new institutional arrangements. The Belt and Road Initiative is marking the way the Chinese Navy is accommodating itself to the blue century demands. With a particular new enterprise called Building a Maritime Community of Shared Future, he postulated that his Navy will work on 5 efforts, all related with cooperation. One of them focuses on disaster relief and search and rescue operations, as a way to foster a comprehensive approach for maritime security achievements. In Admiral Wang Hongbing's vision, complying with the international authorities for the good order of the seas is also part of the evoking of a maritime broader community. Staff Major General Abdullah Al-Sulaiti, commander of the Qatar Emiri Naval Force, has emphasized the challenges of operating the Qatari Navy in one of the hottest waters of the world. He described some characteristics of his area of operations, highlighting the busy traffic, the physical proximity to ongoing conflicts, and the presence of foreign navies. Even more challenging is the fact that Qatar is main source of economy growing coming from the sea, demanding its navy to concentrate prior focus on protecting sea-based resources. Qatari naval forces aim to guarantee that the war of waters does not reach its vicinal waters, which shall remain environmental foresight, know-how, and strong coalition atmosphere. Another contribution was offered by Deputy Commander of the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation Navy, Vice Admiral Sergei Lepelin, showed main threats to global security, like the militarization of the space, arms race, terrorism, piracy, poverty, overpopulation, and technological disaster. He also stated that the Navy has become the most effective and acute instrument of politics, responding to the challenges of military security, as well to the protection of merchant ships. In addition to purely military tasks, Russian Navy traditionally took an active part in humanitarian assistance and disaster relief missions. Admiral Lepelin concluded his presentation emphasizing that the global security is based on cooperation, mutual respect, and on resolving contradictions by peaceful means. The sea is not a barrier, but a road to friendship. It is key and is the key for the development of our civilization. Rear Admiral Antonio Basile, Deputy Commandant of the Italian Coast Guard, presented important takeaways in terms of interagency synergy and multi-purpose missions. He emphasized the harmony between the Italian Navy and the Italian Coast Guard, which is the key for a comprehensive maritime awareness the containment of authorities. He also stressed there is no safety without security and vice versa. The blue economy demands governance of the sea, which is only possible through cooperation and capacity building. This will lead to final goals such as safety, security, sustainability, and environmental preservation. Last, I should mention the contribution raised by Professor Lutwak. He laid down the relevance of the maritime transportation even in our ever-changing landscape. This reinforced the importance of a constant search for enhancing maritime power, which does not directly relate to increasing naval power. Quite the opposite. An abrupt development of naval power tends to diminish one's positive influence through the maritime power, which has always been cooperative. Professor Lutwak stated that the best contribution from our navies and the long-abiding countries is to the opening of the necessary dialogues through freedom of navigation operations. In his view, the recognition of the traditional assets of the Navy's performance, these jobs does not diminish the effects of the technological breakthroughs of the maritime domain. Summing up everything about the session subject, we can see a remarkable weight our speakers address on cooperation at sea. Additionally, we can realize that the oceans are constantly increasing their importance. This makes me think we should consider that oceanopolitics is becoming more important than the traditional geopolitics. The oceans provide a lot of opportunities in the futures in terms of economy, we call blue economy, with a great growing perspective. Science and technology, due to enormous efforts, innovation for exploration of marine resources. Environment, with this weather influence and importance for oxygen productions. And finally, security, defense, and safety. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished sailors, we will leave this symposium and the beautiful city of Venice with a broader view of the challenges and opportunities that the blue economy poses for aim of developing and enhancing a more stable and collaborative maritime security community. And this event represents one more step ahead toward that aim. I would like to once again thank Admiral Cavo Dragone for the Italian hospitality, for initiative of this debate, and also to give the opportunity to Brazilian Navy to be a chairman of the important session, and also to talk after Portuguese Navy, our guidelines forever, Science School. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, sailors. Obrigado, grazie mille, arrivederci.
Thank you, Admiral, for providing such insightful and fruitful remarks. Now there is one final step. You may say this, sir. One final step in this wonderful journey of 3 days of symposium. So I will kindly ask the Chief of Italian Navy, Admiral Giuseppe Cavo Dragone, to provide this closing remark. Sir, the floor is yours.
Hello. I'm already missing you. I'm so sad that everything is over. Highly respected colleagues, representative from all organizations, sponsor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. It has been a great honor to spend the past 3 days with all of you, with your participation. This edition of the symposium successfully achieved the ambitious objective to gather the largest number of prominent maritime actors around the table to talk about topics of shared interest. We have just listened to the outstanding summary provided by the chairman of the sessions. They underline the most interesting outcomes of this symposium, a symposium with the record numbers of attendees. Now it's time to share with you some ideas that I believe can be considered the main takeaways of our work together. First of all, the importance of maritime domain, a domain which seems to be not yet fully understood or recognized by the public opinion in many of our countries. That's what we call sea blindness. We need to work together on this topic. We need to spread the word, as I told to some of you. Really, the common ground we are identifying is that maritime importance is not enough understood and not enough spread. A lot of things concerning seas, concerning its importance, is underestimated, is taken for granted until the point in which something terrible can happen, and then all of a sudden we will discover how important was the sea for all of us. Although recent signs of change have been noticed, there is a clear need to promote specific initiatives that might increase awareness. The sea is alive, the maritime economy is its vitality, and the environment its basis. The maritime culture is the spirit, and the services made possible by the sea are its crucial points. The evolving maritime situation calls on us to strengthen our cooperation, extend our common ground, and establish partnership. Furthermore, we must build relationship so as to create an effective framework of sustainability. In the maritime domain, we are truly stronger together. As a second point, I would like to bring up the growing multidisciplinary connotation of this scenario. We would be fully aware that besides our navies, a growing number of new players operate at sea with a broad variety of implications that we explored in details during our discussions. The assessment on this topic was not unanimous. However, the speaker suggested different sets of possibilities to fill the existing gaps and to make up for gray areas. However, all this reinforces the fact that we all should continue to work hard to push toward a commonly agreed and achievable objectives. We should aim to become mission partners, emphasizing simple and practical solutions. We should encourage the main actor to choose tools that are safe, quick, and easy to implement in the context in which they are working. Adrian, TRMN, and this symposium itself are quite good examples of like-minded approaches and ideas that develop into arrangements. This year, we tried to push our discussion into the extremely modern and relevant field in which we are immersed. So, leaning on our common will to sit together and start a frank and professional conversation. And I thank you all once again for having accepted our invitation. The Italian Navy General Staff came up with the idea for the topics for the 3 sessions. The first sessions dealt with the crucial issue which has a deep and far-reaching impact on the maritime domain. I am very grateful to Professor Margelletti and the representative of France, Chile, Spain, Tunisia, UK, and ICC expert for the wonderful job done. There is a growing concern over the threat of pollution and waste from transport ships and oil tankers carrying noxious cargoes that ply sea routes across the globe. The hazard of pollution is ever-present, threatening coastal resorts and all forms of ocean life. We are fully aware that the competition for supremacy over the ocean and their resources has made it vital to establish rules of good conduct agreed upon by all users of the sea. The law of the sea, later codified in the framework of various international conventions and settlements, above all the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, or the Montego Bay Convention, have become what you might call our maritime highway code. Your discussion clarified very well how the United Nations Convention establishes general obligation for safeguarding the marine environment and protecting freedom of scientific research on the high sea. The Convention also created an innovative legal regime for controlling mineral resources exploitation through the International Seabed Authority. Nevertheless, some gaps have been detected across the years, and consequently, it is deemed necessary to devise specific tools capable to encompass all areas of concern: criminal activities at sea, depletion of resources, etc. The framework could then still be functional as long as we adopt an interinstitutional and intersectorial approaches to achieve an effective employment of already existing tools. The second session, Shaping Our Navies, looking at the blue growth, new capabilities and traditional rules, was a very challenging task carried out successfully by the Admiral Antonio Maria Mendez Calado. Thank you, Antonio. My compliments, my friend. The result is excellent. I would like to pay tribute to all the members of the session as well. You come from 3 different sea areas: the Mediterranean Basin, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean. And you work very well and hard with the Confitarma as a disciplined and well-motivated crew. Your work showed us effectively how we live in very interesting times. Technologies present us with the unprecedented possibilities and innovations for modern ships, multipurpose platforms, and maritime unmanned systems. This sea of change is expanding the frontiers, the traditional system. This session conveys a clear and stimulating message on how we should proceed to establish the right balance between low and high-end capabilities. Finally, I would like to thank our expert and speaker of the 3rd session, brilliantly chaired by Admiral Barbosa. Thank you. They focused in a brilliant way to the drivers of change and the big issue affecting the evolution of the sea power in the Blue Century. They presented a bright new approach, fresh ideas, and innovation in addition to their maritime experience. Professor Lutwak, I'm very grateful for his remarkable contribution and for showing us that challenges and opportunities are nothing but 2 faces of the same coin. We should face together the challenges, as it is the only way we stand a chance to catch up the extraordinary potential to increase national and collective resilience, as well as to ensure well-being and prosperity of our societies. The cooperation between us in the area of maritime laws and regulation is a cornerstone to help us do away with discouraging measures in order to make the resources of maritime services available to world trade without any form of discrimination. So, the 3rd session painted a quite big picture composed by a complex puzzle of observation, remarks, and insight thanks to the active engagement of all participants. Please let me note our participants, some from many countries with different background, strategical posture, and in some cases, non-aligned interest. This makes the outcome of the 3 sessions even more important. But this is the real, true, and final takeaway of the symposium. Despite our differences, we all agree to sit here together to discuss very real topics which are affecting us all. Not about general conceptual issues, but about those things that impact us every day. Together, we accepted the challenge of following the path of dialogue in a world that, at times, could see us on opposite sides of the geopolitical table. Gentlemen, we have proven we share the right attitude and commitment to responsibly supporting a much-needed combined approach among our navies. This brilliant dialogue was a fusion of amazing wisdom and a feast of deep thoughts. Once again, thank you all for participating to the 12th Regional Seapower Symposium, for sharing your constructive ideas and for your suggestion on how to shape our navies for the Blue Century. As I did on the beginning, on the opening remarks, I wish also to offer a closing thought based on the words of the President of the Italian Republic, which underline Italy's belief in the Navy and its personnel as a national institution embodying the morals, ethic, and humanity of the Italian Constitution. Our Navy, operating within a political framework fostering technical and economic development, are a shining example of our system of nations. We believe it is our Navy's task to set forth a positive example for the world in the conveyance of the very ideas we discussed here in the interest of our societies and all humanity. I wish everybody a safe trip back to your countries, but before saying arrivederci, you may recall that on the first day I prefaced our meeting with a question. I wonder whether the name of this symposium still suited the scale and the nature of the event. Based on everybody's suggestion, I tried to mix everything and try to find a way. I'd like to announce that the regional Seapower Symposium of Venice from now on will be known as the Trans-Regional Venice Seapower Symposium. And of course, one major takeaway, and I'll never officially admit it, but one of the best takeaway I had from this symposium was our macho picture. Thank you everybody for participating in it. I will keep it in my heart. And fair winds, following seas, the Italian Navy look forward to meeting you at the 2021 edition of the Trans-Regional Venice Seapower Symposium. Thank you.